Hey guys, welcome to my round 5 team review video following gather round, which was a very good round of footy actually. I thought the gather round concept worked really well. I think most people would agree with that. But yeah, from a fantasy perspective though, not so much for me. I had another very disappointing round, scoring 1982 this week, which is actually my third consecutive score below 2000. So absolutely atrocious really, and my ranking now sits at 35,095. So very horrible and a bit of a setback considering last year I finished inside the top 1000. So it's been a real struggle so far, but we'll soldier on. I'll keep pumping out the videos and yeah, I still enjoy playing fantasy. So now we'll quickly review my team, how it went in gather round, starting in defence. James Sicily, not a great score this week, but I think considering that game was played at Norwood Oval, such a narrow and skinny ground, I think we can be forgiving of a lot of players, particularly those halfback defender sort of types of players. They're just not going to get enough space to get that mark kick sort of game going. So I can forgive Sicily this week. I wouldn't read too much into that. Nick Dacos, fantastic again. Not much more you can say about this guy. He's probably for sure leading the Brownlow after 5 rounds. You'd think he probably will win the Brownlow this year the way he's going. Can't see him stopping. So absolutely fantastic, Nick Dacos, and by now I think everyone should be owning him. And then Angus Brayshaw, Angus bloody Brayshaw. I don't know what to do about this guy anymore. It's just bewildering what's going on with Brayshaw at the moment. He was a borderline All Australian last year, playing that exactly the same role off half back, but this year he just seems like he cannot even get a touch at the moment. He's just so out of form. And look, I'd love any Melbourne fans in the comments below to kind of help me out. Kind of wondering what's going on with Brayshaw. It seems like he's playing the same role, but he's not having any impact whatsoever. And hopefully he might even move into the midfield. Melbourne weren't great apart from Oliver. They weren't great in the midfield on the weekend against the Bombers. So maybe they shake things up, push him into the midfield. I don't know, but at this point, I probably just have to hold on to him though, because I think I really need to start moving on some rookies and start moving my team forward. So I think I've just got to hope that he turns his form around. But yeah, hard to see at the moment with the way he's been going. And then to the rookies, 3 rookies in defence this week, changing it up. My trades last week brought in Sarong in the midfield. So fielding 3 rookies in defence, Jinby, Wilmot and Wagner. Not great, kind of scoring in the 50s. That's what the kind of defender rookies have been doing all year long, really. So, look, I think we look to move a lot of these guys on. Jinby, he actually got subbed out in that game. It was more of a management thing, apparently, so no injury there, but he's probably done making his cash now. So I think now's a great time to move him on. And then Wilmot and Wagner. I brought in Wagner this week. He was all right, had a shaky start, but hopefully he holds his spot. He's still going to be a decent scorer, scoring around 50 to 60, so he should be on my field for a while. And then Wilmot, he's another one, not going to make more cash as well, so we'll look to move him on at some point. And then to the bench, kind of the same. Lockie Cowan, he is maxed out in price now. He's not even scoring the 50 at the moment, so but we'll have to try and move him on at some point. And then Miller Bergman didn't play. I'm not sure why he wasn't named this week, maybe just left out. So that was no ideal as well. Moving on to the midfield now, and this area wasn't too bad for me this week. Rory led on Thursday night. Vice captain, so I ended up taking that. His score of 118. He was fantastic, had an electric start to that game. So it was nice to see. I paid up for him a lot a couple of weeks ago, trading him in. So it was nice to see him reward me for my faith this week. Rory led. Luke Davies-Uniacke, a little bit disappointing this week, 76, and it's kind of a little bit concerning to me, his lack of tackles and marks at the moment. It's kind of put a little bit of doubt in my mind whether he can be that 105 to 110 mid, which I definitely thought he would be after the first 2 rounds. So jury's out a little bit on Davies-Uniacke at the moment, so hopefully he can just start to get a bit more tackles and marks, so when he doesn't have a great game possessions-wise, he can still post that ton each week. Bontempelli, 100, just does what Bontempelli does. Huge first half, disappointing second half. That's what he does. He's playing really well, but he's probably just not an AFL fantasy type of player. He's more of an impact explosive player, so probably not a great pick really, but at least he's turning up, I guess. Then Caleb Sarong brought him in this week. Sarong, he was fantastic. Had a 50 or 5 point last quarter, I think, or something like that. Really had a huge impact on that game and was a big part. Big reason as to why the Dockers got over the line in that game. So really good pick this year, Sarong. I think 4th year now, he's really breaking out now. So I think he's a chance to be a top 8 mid this year. Connor Rosie, he was good this week, played really well in the second half. He looked kind of like the Connor Rosie towards the back half of last year, which earned him that All-Australian blazer. So very happy with Rosie this week. Finn Callahan, yeah, a little bit disappointing, but that's what kind of have to expect considering his role on the wing. So I probably prefer to move some rookies on ahead of him, so he probably stays in my side for a couple more weeks, but hopefully he can at least push 70 in the coming weeks. Finn Callahan. Then to the Rooks, Will Ashcroft feels fantastic, 94. So he should be in most of our teams for a fair chunk of the season. I think he's probably one of the last rookie we probably move on apart from Sheasel, which probably Sheasel is a keeper at this stage in our team. So he's doing great. And then Filippo is really lifted in the last couple of weeks. Been getting up the ground, playing a little bit of time in the midfield, I've noticed. So I think that really suits his game. So hopefully he can keep scoring that 65, 70, and he probably stays in my field for the next couple of weeks at least. And then to the bench, Ollie Hollands. He was alright, but he's probably maxed out in cash now. So he's someone I'll probably look to trade out this week. And then Chesser, still injured at the moment. Moving on to the rucks now, Rowan Marshall, he was fantastic. He really took advantage of a great matchup against Collingwood for him this week, who are playing without a recognised ruck at the moment. So he was great. Jared Witts, I ended up holding Jared Witts. I did consider trading him up to Tim English, which would have been the ideal move. In hindsight, unfortunately, that cost me a lot of points this week. But yeah, I thought it kind of goes against my philosophy this year of kind of holding premiums and kind of prioritising trading out failed mid-prices and rookies first. So that's why I didn't want to do that. I didn't really want to go premium to premium as good as English is at this stage of the year. So hopefully Witts comes back next week. I really need him back as at the moment I'm fielding young Ned Moyle, who probably just isn't ready for AFL footy at this stage. So really need big Witsy back next week. And lastly to the forwards, they were pretty good this week actually. Tim Taranto hasn't scored below 100 yet, so he's been great. And Josh Dunkley, good to see him post a ton this week. Not quite as damaging in terms of fantasy sense as he was last year, but he's going alright. And Errol Gordon just seems to score that 95, around that 95 mark each week, so I think we take that from him. Jack Zeeble, 87, solid score. Would like to kind of see him push 95 to 100 a bit more often, but I think gets that defender status now, which is going to be very handy, so I'm happy with him. Then Harry Sheasel, unfortunately his ton streak is over, but he was fantastic again, 96, but a little concerning to see seemed to be a little bit banged up during that game, kind of spent a lot of time off the ground. Not too sure what the injury is, but hopefully it's nothing major and he continues to play each week, because I think we really need him at the moment. Harry Sheasel is top 6 forward or defender with the way he's been playing. And then Cade Chandler, there he was a little bit disappointed, I think, and he's probably maxed out in price now. So he's another one, along with Ruben Jinby, who are big priorities to look to trade this week. And then to the bench, Luke Pedlar. He was a really interesting one. He scored 35 points in the first quarter, in that explosive first quarter that the Crows had, but then didn't score a single point for the next 2 quarters, and then scored 12 points in the last quarter. So it's a real roller coaster sort of game from Luke Pedlar there. And then the last 2 bench spots didn't play this week. So yeah, that's how my team went in round 5. A disappointing score of 1982. So in terms of the trades that I'm looking to make heading into round 6, what I'm looking to do this week is kind of move on some of those rookies that are really maxed out in price now. I think a lot of those rooks have kind of maxed out in their price now. So I think there'll be some very popular moves this week, moving on those kind of fattened rookies. And yeah, what I'm looking to do is trade out someone like Cade Chandler and actually switching to a very interesting pick who wasn't on my radar at all before this round in Chase Jones from the Crows now. He's been performing really well the last 2 weeks. Forget his score of 33 in the showdown. He came on late as a sub, but in his short time on the ground, he scored a 30-point quarter or something. So he's actually absolutely flying at the moment. And you might remember he was a very high draft pick back in that 2018 draft. It was an absolute super draft that year, the one with Walsh, Rosie, those sort of guys. So he's definitely got a lot of talent, and maybe he's just starting to live up to it now. And he's kind of been playing off half-back along a wing. So I think just because of his price, 486k, he can be a really valuable stepping stone for me to eventually move him on to a premium later down the track, and he's going to have a low break even, make plenty of cash. So I'm very keen on Chase Jones this week. And then with the second trade, it's more of just a cash grab with the future in mind. Ollie Hollands is probably maxed out in cash now. To Matt Roberts, who played a really good game for the Swans on Friday night against the Tigers. He definitely looked like he belonged there, playing his first game as not the substitute for the Swans. So yeah, very keen on Roberts this week. I think it'd be a popular rookie downgrade. So yeah, they're the trades I'm looking to make this week. Kind of looking ahead to the future, bringing in Chase Jones, kind of a little rookie to premium upgrade. If you can kind of classify Jones as a sort of premium sort of type, hopefully can score like it. But that leaves me with 227k in the bank to kind of look next week to bring in a real elite sort of top line premium in the midfield or defence probably. So that's what I look at to do there. Someone else that I really wanted to raise this week, similar to Chase Jones in price, is Jason Johannesson from the Dogs now. Look, he's been a bit in the wilderness since his Norm Smith medal performance in the 2016 Grand Final, but last 2 weeks he's been really good, kind of playing off half back. So, look, if he can kind of recapture some of that form of old, and he's probably a really good pick. So I'm kind of tossing up between Johannesson and Jones at the moment. At this stage, I've leant towards Jones because I think he has a little bit more upside, but I think Johannesson's a really nice pick this week, kind of as a stepping stone towards a premium later down the track. So keep an eye on him. So yeah, that's all for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you want to leave any questions for me, I'm happy to give a second opinion. You probably don't want any advice from someone ranked 35,000 like myself, but yeah, I'm happy to give an opinion on any trade ideas anyway. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you at the end of round 6 next week.